Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen.
And I'm John Johnson.
And you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
So this week we're continuing our Dark Knight Frank Miller series. This is the last main book so far. It's called Dark Knight 3: The Master Race. Right? It's not called Dark Knight Return. Okay.
No,
you looked at me.
The Master Race.
You had a look in your eye like.
Oh no, I got my Batman face on.
Oh, you got your Batman face. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're reading this whole series, and I'm really liking it. You liking it?
Yeah, no, yeah. I like. So the first one is definitely like the shining pinnacle, but the rest of the series, as we've been reading through, I think it's gotten better and better as I've read along. So
yeah, it's definitely. I
really like the Master Race.
I did too. And
comic.
Yeah, well, let's preface this with when I first heard that Frank Miller was doing a comic called Master Race, I was like, might not be the right time for that.
I took my wife asked me like, what are you reading this week? And I was like, Dark Knight, The Master Race, and she's like, what?
Yeah,
like, it's like it's in comics like it's about
it makes perfect sense.
I promise it makes sense,
and it's not about white people.
Yeah.
Well, they're kind of white, but they're not human.
They're from outer space.
They're from outer space. So. They're aliens. But yeah, so this comic is basically about what if the Kryptonians that are trapped in Kandor were able to get embiggened, and then and then they realize, hey, we're like, why would we be subservient to humans? We weren't raised in Kansas like Superman was.
Yeah,
they should worship us like gods, basically. So like they're the master race. So the Kandors are. I don't know what Kandorians or Kandorans. I don't know.
They're just Kryptonians technically, right?
Right, but to separate them, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Either way.
Well, there's even a line in here where Quara's like, you pretend that you call yourself the last son of Krypton, but that's bull. We are
right. True. Okay. Well, whatever. We'll call them Kryptonians for this. I called them Kandorians when I wrote all my notes. So. But yeah. So we. So the first issue of this is like set up because it starts off, it's been 3 years since Dark Knight Strikes Again. And then it's been like no one has seen Batman or Superman for that matter for like 3 years. So, and they don't really say why no one showed up, but in this time we see how the world has changed, which I kind of liked. The president has to have a blood test every quarter to make sure that they're a real person or whatever, yeah. Which I don't know how you could fake that too, technically, but maybe it has to be live on TV or something. I don't know. But it's funny because the news was like, the president took his quarterly blood test and he was definitely a human or whatever, like, not an alien brainiac or whatever. So, and then also I guess the police, since like taking back the country from Lex and Brainiac, they've like apparently gotten super corrupt, or I don't know if it's corrupt, but it's just way more powerful.
Yeah, they're way harsher than
yeah. Like it's kind of like the government has stepped back because they fucked up, or like the federal government, and then like police in Gotham at least has kind of like not martial law, but they're definitely. If they want to shoot you, they'll shoot you.
Yeah. Hey, you over there, and just take out the billy club.
Yeah,
stop doing that.
Exactly.
Whoa! I'm just walking here.
And then saying like, and it's weird because like Commissioner Yindel is in this, and she's like she realizes that they've gone astray, but for some reason she can't correct it.
Yeah, she didn't seem like she has control.
Yeah, and it's weird because I'm like, you're commissioner, right? Like it should be whatever you let happen happens. But I mean, maybe there was some political stuff they didn't go into here or something. But either way, they're just like cops, and it might have been because they're playing on kind of reality, what happened with what's happening with cops and what happened before when this was coming out, like police shootings and stuff. So it was like maybe it's just there's a problem with police overall, and maybe she didn't realize that until it was too late, kind of thing.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, but it seems like they're even over what reality is. They're hyper real in this. So they're like, it starts off with them like chasing a a kid down the streets, and I don't know. I guess he stole something. I didn't see what he did, but it was just like they were chasing him, like stop, and then like they pull out their guns to shoot him, and then all of a sudden a Batman figure shows up and takes him out basically, and he records all of it on his phone, and he shows his friends and stuff. So it was. I liked they had like a personal like conversations, I should say. Yeah, personal conversations with like characters that aren't on screen at all, but they did little text boxes. And I hate that in movies, but I don't mind it in comics as long as it makes sense and it's not too overused.
Yeah.
But yeah, but they also did the news thing like they did in Dark Knight Returns more.
And I like the news because it's the same kind of thing. Like they're all like you can tell the personalities that they are, and they're all just a little overdone.
Right.
But, I mean, they had like
I know Trump was pretty spot on.
So yeah, he's always depicted as who he is. He can't fake that. But yeah, but they have like Fox News kind of thing, and they have kind of like MSNBC kind of people,
right,
back and forth, and then like some of the different talking heads of it. Like they have a Bill O'Reilly kind of character.
Right, O'Brien.
Right?
Yeah. I was like, is that O'Reilly? Because he's been
That's
out
true.
for a while. Right? I'm like, is that who that's supposed to be? I think it is. It looks enough like him. But yeah, so Batman's been out, but for 3 years, and Superman, like we said, and randomly, this Bat person shows up, and they're like, "Oh, is it Batman? Is he back?" Then it kind of cuts to Wonder Woman to see what she's been doing, and she's back in like Amazon or Themyscira. I don't know if she's back at Themyscira or she's like in around that area in like Central America, but she's like helping tribes of people, like native tribes, fight off like a Minotaur.
Yeah, the Minotaur was interesting.
Yeah, what I think he's trying to in this, I think he's trying to ground her in its mythological magic. You know what I'm saying? Like this is why it's magic, and that comes back later. But he's trying to establish like there's a Minotaur. That's how like mythology based this is. So for Wonder Woman's mythology, and she's got a baby on her back. So little baby Jonathan, because she got pregnant in the last one in Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Yeah, she said, it was crazy. You just, I'm pregnant again.
Yeah, so they had a baby apparently, and like I said, Superman's out. He gone right now, and so she's been raising that baby on her own, single mother, and then she ties him to her back in like a little papoose, and then like fights minotaurs with him. So it's pretty awesome. And then they also, after she's done like defeating the minotaur, she like whips out her boob and breastfeed him, and I'm like they're trying to show like this is like the ultimate like woman, like I am breastfeeding and caring for child and killing everything. It was a really cool like opening storyline for her or whatever. And then we also see like she comes back and Laura, she's like, "Where's Laura?" And they're like, "Yeah, Laura's not here because like she's headstrong. There. She doesn't listen." We kind of saw that in the Dark Knight Strikes Again, where she's like, she'll go along with stuff if she must because she's young, but she doesn't like. She's not from Kansas, and even more so, she's like an Amazonian and a Kryptonian. So
she's got two really strong, like ways of thinking, fighting in her head, basically.
Right. Yeah, and so then we see that she goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and it's all covered with like snow and ice and everything, and pretty much everything's covered with ice. And she just goes there to like kind of talk to her dad. And he's there frozen, like as a statue kind of. Like he's not a statue, but he's like
he's like frozen in a chair.
It's like he gave up. They said he gave up. Like he's just kind of like after everything that happened, and he was a puppet. You got to remember, like in the continuity of this storyline, he was a puppet for the government, and so he I could see why he'd be like, you know what? Okay, I saved everybody. I was the problem in this. I propped up this fake government.
I'm gonna take myself right out of the picture.
And plus, like, Batman keeps fucking taking me out of the picture anyway. He keeps trying to take me out. So yeah, it's like, and basically it's kind of like he saw what Bruce or what Batman always says, which is like, you need to fuck off. Like, you're not a god kind of thing. We don't need your help. Get the fuck out of here kind of thing. Or if you are, you're supposed to like fall in line and help us. And so, he gave up, so he's just sitting in his little throne in the Fortress of Solitude, and he's frozen solid. And so she just goes there to kind of like talk to him, like, "Hey, Dad, how's it going? I had a hard day. How are you doing? Oh, that's good. Like, still frozen? Cool." And while she's there, she hears like a noise, and she looks over and she sees "Help Us" like burned into the glass in the city of Kandor, which is in the fortress again, from last time they saved it from Brainiac. And this is weird, a little weird, because it was way bigger, at least drawn in Dark Knight Strikes Again. Like the city was like as big as a, I don't know, small child or something.
Yeah, that's true. It was a little smaller.
Yeah, it was like a, I don't know, I'd say it was like 4 feet tall, something like that, and like maybe 2 feet wide, something like that. In this, it's like hand size. Like I could pick it up, and I mean it's maybe like a foot tall or a foot and a half tall and 8 inches wide or something. Which I thought was weird because I'm like, yeah, let's keep with the continuity of everything. But it seems like what happened, or like what's going on with that is they want to not be small again, or they don't want to be small anymore. I guess they've been free, but they're still
free,
small,
still free, small, and in their little bottle.
Yeah, I guess they're in their bottle because I don't know. I think it was like trying. They didn't really give a good reason why you would still make them in the bottle. Personally, I would be like, "You're free. Here's your plot of land where we're gonna set Kandor in the middle, and you guys build out." And then I guess maybe it's for protection. I mean, they'd be fighting ants and birds and shit all the time, but they're super powered at least, so they could take them on.
That would be a cool comic actually. Give them their whatever, and then like they're fighting like ants and they have to fight off like bugs and birds.
That'd be fantastic. It'd be like Honey, I Shrunk the Kandors or whatever. So they want to not be small anymore, so they asked Laura to help them out, and specifically. It's someone named Ball.
Yeah, Baal.
Yeah, who reaches out to her for help, and I think that's where the first. Is that where the first one is? Oh no,
almost. So like there's another. They're trying to get the Batman to come out, and Batman comes out again, and Batman's fighting a bunch of cops, and the cops overwhelm Batman this time, and they're beating the crap out of him, and then Yindel shows up, and basically like. Cuffs and unmasks, and you're going to, we caught him. We finally got the Batman, and they unmask him, and it's a redheaded person.
It's Carrie.
It's Carrie Kelly. Yeah,
she has taken the mantle at least today, or this week or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she gets caught, pretty much, and then they ask, "Where's Bruce Wayne?" And she says, "Bruce Wayne is dead," and that's the last.
Yeah,
that's the last thing of the issue. And then this series was a little weird. They put little one-shots inside each issue, and then as we read them in the trade, the one-shots were at the end of each issue. So the one-shot on this one was called Atom. It was like, Dark Knight Returns presents the Atom. And that was like basically, that's where you find out the person that contacted Laura was named Ball. And, Ball seems like a pretty straightforward guy. Like, he's a good guy, right? But I noticed this right away because this is the second time I've read this comic. Is like the Atom says something to Ball, and Atom corrects him. Is like, "Oh, that's not right, Ball. It's like this." And Ball's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry." And then Laura goes, "What'd you say? Like how dare you speak to him like that? Like meaning, like kind of how dare you, a human, the Atom, speak to Ball." But then Ball cuts her off and goes like, "No, like it's fine. Don't worry about it." Because I think what they're trying to say there is, and there was a lot of like, you have to read into some of this. Just having read it before, I kind of knew what the storyline was. So I could kind of like, you have to read a little bit into this thing. So
okay,
what I read into it was Ball has been like kind of corrupting her mind with like, we are superior. We're better than them. We're gods, basically. Because he's been talking to her.
That makes sense.
So she's got more of a nationalistic for a Kryptonian sense vibe in her, or like ideas in her. So she's like Kryptonian supremacy more so now than she was before, and she was already like why do we care about these humans? So so Ball's like, yeah, we should. They should worship us, and she's like, I agree with you. So so we kind of get that, but Ball's trying to hide it because he wants the Atom to help him embiggen the Kryptonians. Yeah, and that's pretty much like the little one shot is just that. Like, it's just a little introduction of how they're gonna make them bigger with the Atom's help. Right.
Yeah.
So then number 2 starts, and it's basically like Carrie's right away in jail. They're like they've been holding her for, and I didn't remember how long did they say? Was it like a long? It was like 36 hours. They had her for a really long time because they're like, she hasn't said anything in this amount of time. I can't remember what it was. And it's like, I guess the police can hold people for extended amount of time and whatnot. And then she wants, Yindel's like, I want to hear how like Bruce Wayne died. If you're going to say he died, what happened or whatever. And she basically says like, he never recovered from his fight from Dark Knight Strikes Again with Lex Luthor, and he got beat up so bad that he just always stayed in that bed, and then eventually he died. And then this was like a touching scene where like it shows the when he died moment, and it's like him being like, I always thought I'd die alone, and she's like, well, you're not, or whatever, and like she had his hand in her hand, and it was nice. It was a nice little scene. So then we see that like we cut to Adam is actually helping the Kryptonians embiggen themselves, and they have a plan where like the Atom is going to bring like 1,000 at a time back to Earth, or to, I guess, embiggen them to Earth size. And they have to come on a platform or something like that. So, and as he does, he and it's funny because Ball's like, oh, like, yeah, we'll just do 1,000 at a time and it'll be great. And he's like, yeah, 1,000 at a time, 1,000 Kryptonians that all could kill us all. That sounds, and he's like, he's thinking in his head like, nope, don't waver, don't let your voice, don't let him hear it. So even he's like, is this a good idea? Like, should we make full-size superpowered supermen or super people, that could like kill everybody without much effort? I mean, they deserve to be, they haven't done anything wrong, right? And as he does it, like I guess it's 1,000 people, but there's also like a bunch of dead people too.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
So what I gathered, they didn't explain it much, but what I gathered was, so it's the people that are alive it's Ball and his family, and Ball is the son of a guy named Quar, who is like a Jim Jones kind of guy. Like he's a cult leader, and he's like, we are the true gods of Earth, and these humans are ants, and they should know that they need to bow down to us, and blah blah blah. And it's funny because right away he's like, the only person who can really shrink us again is the Atom. So he's like, boop, and he like breaks the little mechanism that the Atom has on his suit to embiggen them, and it like automatically starts shrinking the Atom way small down. So it's like he's like out of the picture for the whole comic pretty much.
Like and it looked like he went to like step on him, like he was gonna thought he would kill him.
And he even says squish, but he doesn't squish. So
no, I think because he just keeps shrinking, right?
Right, he just kept shrinking. So he never gets killed or anything. He just like goes down, and the next time you see him, he's like floating through quantum space, is what I called it, where he's just like in between atoms and quarks and all that shit.
It was cool,
neutrinos.
It looks like he was like sitting on like specifically like atom molecules and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because he actually grabs like a covalent bond or whatever, like like he actually grabs the bonds between the atoms or whatever. Like if the pictures are real, I'm like, it's not what they actually look like in space or whatever, like in reality. So like then we find out like, yeah, Ball's basically like, I think what happened on the platform, all the dead people are the Kryptonians that were there for real, that are nice regular Kryptonians, and he's like, slaughter you.
Yeah, didn't fall in line.
Yeah, and so it's him and all of his followers, which I'm gonna assume is 1,000. Might be less than that. They didn't give an exact number of how many of
it was a pretty decent amount.
It was a lot. When they showed them arriving, it was like little dots in the sky every 10 feet or so, and it went all the way to the horizon kind of. So it was a lot of them. So, and then Carrie goes back, so she's
getting transported.
Yeah, I liked this a lot. Yeah. I thought this was cool. So you see how her character has grown from like teenager, like 13-year-old to like a young adult woman who is like has been trained by Batman for all those years, and she is smart. She is just as like sly and like intriguing as, or like a detective, and has all those skills and everything as him.
Yeah.
And so like, so she's being transported. They're like, we gotta take you away. So they're taking her to like the indefinite hold place, wherever that is. And but she, like, in her mind is like, we just turned right on Wilbur, and now we're going for another 120 feet until we get to this street and take a left. And like, so she knows like the whole map of the city from where they started, which I thought was cool. And then she's like, and we're about to approach this. And then she like whistles, and all of a sudden you see like boom, and like the I don't know if it blew up. I guess the Batmobile blew up the building, but she's like, she had hid, or someone hid the Batmobile there, waiting for her to get to this point, and she, like, her whistle triggered it. I thought that was great. I love that Batmobile.
Yeah, it just looks like a big tank. It's freaking awesome.
It's a tank with a weird neck. I love it. And then so they it comes out, it kind of rolls over the car that she was in, or it's like a SWAT van or whatever, and then she gets out, and they're like, oh my god, we gotta get her, she's out or whatever. And then they think she's in the tank, but she's actually like underneath the tank.
Yeah, they open the tank, they're like, it's empty.
Yeah, and then she's on the bottom, and then they're like, raise the bridge, because as they're like, it's driving away, the there's like a bridge over whatever, the river in Gotham. Yeah, and it starts to raise, like it does for ships, and it's at like a fucking 85-degree angle, or whatever. It's a really steep angle, and the Batmobile like approaches it, and then I can't remember what she says, but she says some command like blast off or whatever, and it like takes off and just shoots up and then makes it over the bridge, so she gets away.
Yeah, and
then when she gets away, she gets to the Batcave, and then you see Bruce ain't dead.
Yeah, it was cool to see him again. He's a little like he looks like he's better than he was before. He's got hair again. He's a little scruffy, and he's walking with like one of those arm canes where you slip your arm through it.
Oh, you know what? Now that we're talking about kind of character design and stuff, real quick, we should mention the artist on this. I thought it was Romita Jr., which did The Last Crusade. Mm-hmm. It is not. It's Andy Kubert, whose dad is a famous. The same as John Romita Jr. It's a family lineage of people who do comic books. But I liked his designs a lot in this for the characters. It's not Frank Miller style, really. There were some parts where he tried to make it look more Frank Miller-y, which that was the only thing I was like, don't, just do your thing. Like, I want to see your take on it. I know Frank Miller, he's got his own style, and you want to make some things blocky. There's a couple Wonder Woman shots where I was like, it's fine. You just do your thing. You don't have to make it look like Frank Miller. And then Frank Miller did most of the one-shots that we read. Yeah. So he did most of those. There was a couple that he didn't do, and one of them was really, I was like, no. This is not okay. But the other ones Frank Miller did, and they were just Frank Miller. I'm not judging Frank Miller. So he did his thing. It's not my thing anymore. It's not horrible. It still tells the story. It's just, I don't know what happened.
It's definitely between the main comic and some of those one shots. It is jarring.
It is jarring because Andy Kubert is beautiful. So like his artwork is fantastic, and you get like his design for Bruce Wayne was like, it's been a while. He's been in kind of bedridden. He can't do exercise anymore. He's still buff and muscular, but like a guy who used to lift weights all the time and then took a couple years off, but still retains a lot of that muscle mass. He's like stocky. He's got like not a gut, but it's like there's no like pyramid. There's no like triangle to his body anymore. It's just kind of a square.
Yeah.
So he's got love handles. That's what it is. And but yeah, he's there. So like he's not dead. We thought he was dead in issue 1. We're like, what? He's got a cane though now and everything. So and that's pretty much how that one ends. You reveal Bruce ain't dead.
He ain't dead.
And then we get the Wonder Woman one shot, which was she's trying to train Laura, and Laura is basically rejecting her training.
Yeah.
This was the one.
She's kind of like, I'm bored of this. I don't need to train.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a Kryptonian. You're never going to be as fast as me, Mom. You're never... Like, just like a kid, you know, it's like, obviously, if you've been training with your mom, she hasn't been going 100% on you because she's your mom. So, like, you know, like, there's all these things about, like that Laura overlooks about Amazon training and all that, which I thought kind of played into why the Kryptonians don't know anything about Amazons. Because Laura's very, like, yes, I'm an Amazon, and it's great that you're warriors, but you're on Earth. But I'm a Kryptonian, I'm like a god, right? So there's no reason for me to, like, really train with you because I'm way faster and way stronger and way whatever. This was the only one in the whole thing that I hated the artwork in. A big problem with it, which because I like the artist a lot. His name's Edward Riso. To me, this one did not fly as far as the art, but the storyline just made it just emphasized, Laura thinks she's better than even Amazons, so much so that she doesn't even need to train or learn anything about Amazons, which ends up kicking her in the ass later on. So then we get book 3.
I have to say, just overall real fast, the cover of book 3 was my favorite one, I think.
Which one was that cover?
It's Batman and Carrie Kelly Robin in like snow suits of Batman.
Oh,
and Robin.
yes.
It was just really cool looking.
Yeah, she had the little R on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like Batman, like you could tell, like it's not quite a bat suit, but it's like puffy and all black, and he does have the bat symbol.
Yeah.
It just looked really cool.
Well, they're definitely on brand. So like they're definitely the Bat and Robin suit, you know, like but they're for snow. So so yeah, they so you know, obviously Bruce is back together. I mean, Bruce is alive, and they're kind of like they're still working out together, but like but Batman's like he's basically like, I'm too broken to do anything. Like he's like so in pain all the time, and he's like, but I tell her that like the fire's gone, but it's not. She knows I'm lying. It's just like it's too much hurt pride to say like I'm too broken to do this, so you have to go out and do it, kind of thing. But I liked that, and this is what happens when you read them all in a row. This is in direct contrast, this whole relationship between him and Kelly, to the Last Crusade relationship with him and Jason, where every time they'll go out, he's like, Jason's capable, but he's a fucking psycho, and he's not ready to like take on the mantle. And in this, he's like, I don't want to give up the mantle because I'm still like have the fire inside me. But Carrie is fully capable of doing everything on her own. So I liked that. I liked that you get that kind of continuity between everything. And I think if you read this as they came out, you don't get that, right?
Yeah.
You get, every 16 years, I forgot about that book. And then you read that one and then you go, that was okay. You're like,
reading through these, honestly, I feel like Carrie Kelly is like the best representation of Robin. Like Robin. Yeah, like for real.
Yeah, she's like quickly my favorite Robin, my favorite There's Never Been a Catgirl, and then Batwoman. And I like that she's grown. You see her growth over the whole thing.
She's a kid struggling in the first one, but she's doing the best she can. Then she's kind of being on her own, and she's got that teen spunk in the next one, but still like, okay, I got you, Batman. I'm gonna do what you say. And then this one, she's like, I got this.
Yeah. And then we cut to the Kryptonians are now like, full sized. And they're like, they are ants and we are gods. And like, Quar is going off and doing his religious speak. He sends them out to like start attacking around the earth. So you see like, oh, this is on
like,
fire.
We're going to demonstrate our power and like show that we are the like.
Yeah. And once again, no one knows that this has happened. Only the Atom and Laura know that this is a thing. So like all of a sudden just someone shows up in somewhere and goes like pew with their eyes and just shit blows up and they're like, what the fuck? And then it happens somewhere else and somewhere else. And then the thing that he does, so he Quar is able to, he has these things, I don't know, they're pills or whatever, and he gives them to his followers and it turns them into basically nuclear bombs or like bombs. I think it incredibly burns up their metabolism so that they end up blowing up, and they're that much power released as a bomb, basically. Like everybody's watching the TV, and they see him, and he's like, "We are gods. You should bow to us, and I will show you our power." And he like gives one of these pills to one of his sons, And then he's like, yes, father. And then like he takes it, and then he like flies into the Kremlin in Moscow, and it totally blows up Moscow.
Yeah.
Just obliterates the whole city. And then he's like, you see my power, you see what we're capable of. We are obviously gods. All you humans have to bow down to us. You have 36 hours to comply. And then that's when Bruce is like, okay, I gotta fucking beat these Kryptonians every goddamn time. So he's like, okay, obviously we can't do it ourselves because there's like 1,000 of them. So we gotta go get Superman and wake him up.
So they get on their little snowsuits.
Yeah, they put on their snowsuits, and they don't have a Sherpa because Batman knows everything. And he goes to wherever the Fortress of Solitude is, and it's funny because his walking stick is a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
I was like, that is a heavy ass walking stick. So obviously Bruce Wayne still got stamina, and so he's still got the shoulders for it, But so he, they go to the frozen Superman, and they take the sledgehammer and they smash it open, and they're like, it really, he's got to kind of want to wake up or whatever kind of thing.
But Bruce's inner monologue was good. He was like, God damn it, it pains me to do this. Like, I gotta break you up, but I can't do this on my own.
Yeah, like he's like, I don't want to help this Superman. Obviously you see how much he hated him, or like it's not that he hates him, he just has disdain for Superman and all the other ones. He's like, he's a dumb Boy Scout who doesn't listen, who thinks he knows everything and he's all good, blah blah blah. But I know really what's going on because Batman's like a cynic basically, and so they break him out. Superman wakes up. They tell him what's going on. Like, all your Kryptonians from Kandor are embiggened, or at least 1,000 of them are.
Yeah, and they are killing everyone.
Oh, you know what we forgot to say? Forgot to say this. So when Quar first gets out, when they embiggen all his followers, Quar's like, pew, and kills the rest of Kandor.
Oh, that's right.
He blew up Kandor. So Superman wakes up and they tell him, hey, Kandor's gone, but there are 1,000 zealots from Kandor that are still alive. They're calling us. They're saying they're our gods now. We got to worship them. We need your help. And Superman fucking starts bawling, like he's crying over, Kandor. Because, this has been a thing in lore in Superman continuity. I don't know, 50 years that he's like had this city and has been trying to figure out how to make it bigger and just trying to make it like okay. And so like it's like his baby kind of to him, and they're all dead. As everybody's like talking about all the fighting going on and everything, or like the bomb and the killing going on with the Kryptonians, they take out all the satellites, so like no one can communicate. So like everybody's got like anybody like either got to have a walkie-talkie, or no one's got like satellite for communications anymore. So Batman and Robin, they got Superman helping them now. He assembles the Sons of Batman, and they actually call them the Bat Boys. So you were right. You called them that at the beginning. Quar sends his people to take in the Pentagon, where like they're having a UN meeting.
Yeah, all the heads of state from everywhere.
Yeah, and they break in. And they're like, "Okay, guys, like so you're all the leaders. We want you to bow to us."
Yeah, the whole globe is to surrender to us.
And basically, like right when people start to answer, they're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Yeah, we give up. Yeah,
yeah, and then all of a sudden, Batman's face comes on to the TV, and he's like,
"Go to hell."
Yeah, fuck you.
That was pretty cool. That was really cool. Like all the screens, because like the world leaders are on different screens that are not physically there, and then they just like all shut off, and then just Batman's big mug pops up.
See, and that's where I was like, well, if they destroyed all the communication satellites, how do they have?
Because Batman has
no. Batman does, but how do the world leaders have?
They have their secret ones.
They explain Batman's satellite capabilities later. So, so he's got stealth satellites that no one notices because they're stealth.
And Superman shows up and he's like, "Oh, you heard him.
Yeah,
go to hell.
Go to hell." And then as he like he's there, like Laura comes over and is like, basically, you're a race traitor.
You're a traitor.
She says you're a traitor to your race or whatever, and that's kind of how it ends. This was we get the one shot that's like a Green Lantern one shot. I love Green Lantern. I wish he was more like in it.
Yeah, especially as big of a role he ended up playing technically in the last one.
Right.
And this one was like, oh, Green Lantern's here, and then I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
This part of it was cool, like the individual, but then when the more of it that comes later was a little lackluster.
Right. This story's about like Quar's wives, because Quar has many wives, as many cult leaders do.
Of course.
So they're like in Egypt looking at the Sphinx, and it's all like they're talking about like I wonder if blah blah blah. I don't know. They're talking about pontificating stuff about like, should we take over these people? Yeah, they need our help. They're so like little and small, and we'll like show them the way. And look what they do to women in this world, and the women are always subservient. Blah blah blah. So, which I'm like, aren't you like Quar's wives? Like,
that's different.
Okay, whatever. So they're all like, how horrible for the women, and then like it cuts to like Green Lantern. And he's with his family again, like his little construct family. And this was like kind of where I understood I think I get a better understanding of what's going on with Hal Jordan as Green Lantern in this Dark Knight universe. He has kind of ostracized himself from Earth, so he's like far away somewhere in space. And he just made his own little universe where it's like, it's just him and his family.
It's Green Lantern universe.
Yeah, his little construct universe, and that's what he did. He just kind of hiding away. Did he get called back by Batman?
Basically, yeah. I think Batman sends like some kind of, because Batman can contact anybody at any time.
Sure. And so he's like, "Hey, we need you again." So Hal's like, "God damn it, gotta save these people all the time." So he goes down, and in this, he does have a ring. I was like, "That's weird. Why does he have the ring this time?" But last time he was like, "I do not need a ring. I am Green Lantern." So yeah, he takes the ring, or he has it. He goes to the desert. He sees them, and they're like, "What are you?" And they're like, "Are you a god?" And he's like, "No." You know, they're just like kind of taunting him. They obviously know, like, "Hey, we're Superman powered." So, and I don't know if he knows what they are or what's going on. But
I don't think he does,
because he was just like, "What's going on here, ladies?" Because they're destroying the Sphinx as they're like talking. They're like ripping pieces off of it and stuff. He like, "Oh, let me show you what I can do, ladies," and he like puts his hand out to like, you know, do some kind of construct, and they fucking blow his hand off with their heat vision.
Just cut it right off.
And then they're like, "He's no god," and he like falls down. And they're like, "Look at the little man, he's not a god." And then I think they like chuck his hand. Yeah, so then like
that's it.
You're like, okay, Hal Jordan just got his hand blown off. That's fucking crazy.
He literally got his
right.
hand.
I think the setup for this was just mainly trying to show how like threatening the Kryptonians are. I mean, we already know, but like, think of it like even Hal Jordan can't do anything. Wonder Woman supposedly can't do anything because she was fighting Laura, and Laura's like, "I don't need you." Yeah. So as a reader, we're like, you know,
like, who can stop them?
Yeah, who can really stop them? Superman's just one of them. So how can that be? We go to book 4, and Laura has called her father a race traitor, and he's like, "What are you talking about, Laura? Like, why would you go with these people?" And she's like, you know, she starts beating him up because Quar's like, you know, "Fight him, child." Basically,
you need to choose a side. So she's like, well, okay. She starts fighting Superman says, "I'm not gonna fight you."
Yeah, like, "I'm not gonna punch my daughter." He basically just lets her beat the shit out of him, and then they end up at the Fortress of Solitude. As they're there, Quar like arrives, and he's like, you know, I guess they're following them, and they're like, you know, "You have been you are on trial, Superman, for putting us in that bottle for so many years." Yeah. And it's funny, they think of Kal-El as like a jailer or like a warden or something. Like they thought, I guess, or he made it seem like, I think he used this to his advantage, like while talking to the Kryptonians.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know, the son of Krypton, or Kal-El, he's our jailer. Like, he's not letting us out. It's not that he can't figure out how to embiggen us. It's just
he just basically doesn't want to.
Right. He likes to have his city in a jar.
Yeah, and that's where he says, like, yeah, you claim to be the last son of Krypton, but, you know, you've been a liar and a traitor basically for all of these years.
Right, because we've been here the whole time.
We were right there.
Yeah, and you never did anything. So they're like, you know, "What do you say, everybody?" And everybody's like, "Guilty, guilty." And then he's like, "You're guilty." And the thing about Quar is he's got pockets full of stuff, apparently.
Yeah.
And he so not only does he have like bomb pills, but he pulls out some dark matter goop pills or whatever, and he like, so it's like a bunch of pieces of dark matter that he can hold, that he throws on Superman, that like surround him and like envelop Superman's body. So now it's kind of like, I guess it's like he's trapped in a weird space dimension-ish thing is what it is.
Batman and Carrie are watching this whole time, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, they're in the fortress because they just woke Superman up, and all this happened like right away, even though it was separated by issues.
Yeah.
It was like Superman goes to Laura, and then they fight, but they don't reveal themselves or anything. No. They don't try to help Superman at all. They're just like, just let him die or whatever. like he'll be fine. And so yeah, they cover him in dark matter, so his body's like covered in like a black crust, and then they melt all the ice under him, and like he just
sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
So yeah, it's to the bottom of the ocean, or to like wherever under the Arctic.
And then and then Batman and Carrie are like, crap, like, well, okay, well, we need to do something basically. So I guess they go back to the Batcave, and then like Carrie's like pumping Batman full of like drugs.
Not quite, because what happens first is, doesn't Quar threaten to destroy Gotham first? Because of Batman.
Yeah.
So they defeat Superman, and then he's like, oh yeah, that Batman that told me to go to hell, you go to hell, sir. You go to hell and you die, because I'm going to burn Gotham in 36 hours if you don't give up Batman. So he's like, Gotham, if you don't give up Batman, like if you don't find Batman and give him to me, I'm going to kill everybody in Gotham. I'm going to destroy all of Gotham. They say that, and then it cuts to like him in the Batcave with Carrie, and she's injecting him with like, here's some steroids in your knee, sir.
He's like, yeah, I just won't feel anything anymore. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh, my nerves hurt so bad. Just dull the pain, please. And then we see like Commissioner Yindel is in the police station, and she's like all the cameras and everything are dead.
Right before they go back to Yindel, though, Batman does one little cool thing. They're like getting ready to go, and he's like, here, Carrie, this is for you. You're getting a promotion.
Yeah. And he gives her
a new like kind of suit, and you're like, oh, okay, what is that going to be? And it's cool with that. It's like
yeah, it's fun when they go out. So anyway, Yindel's inside the police station, and she's like recording on a tape recorder, I assume. So she's recording everything that's going on, like how she's disappointed in herself for like going along with the corruption, and like I don't know if she went along with it as much as just not realizing that it was so bad, and then now that it got to a certain point, she just had to like not protect it, but not do anything about it either, kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's just very like unsatisfied with herself and disappointed in herself. And then she like goes out of the office, goes to the roof, and everybody outside is like, "Give us Batman." I think they think the police still have Batman in their custody because they arrested him earlier, right? Yeah. So all the city of Gotham people are like outside the police station. The police have like barricaded it in the doors and everything, and they're all inside. And then Yindel's sitting on top of like one of the Gothic gargoyles on the outside of the roof, like recording everything. And then all of a sudden Batman shows up and is like, I got a plan, we're gonna get through this. Then we see all of a sudden you see like, I like this is how they introduce the Flash. You see yellow text on the thing, and you're like, what's that? Who is that talking? Then it cuts to a panel of the legs and the arms and the so it's like, oh, it's the Flash, cool. And he's got his his new costume on and everything. And then as he's running, he's like, I'm gonna save. And then like I guess, and I didn't get who this was, I guess it was Quar or one of the Kryptonians.
Yeah, I didn't, because he was so blocky at first. I didn't know.
I was like, was that Batman? Was that part? Because he says, I got a plan, and then Flash comes, and then all of a sudden someone comes out of somewhere and just like cuts him from the legs. He does that illegal move from football where you take out their legs, and just shatters his bottom legs. They look,
they're all mangled.
They look like Elastic Man's legs. They are ridiculously twisted. We get introduced to the Flash, and he's taken out right away. So you're like, oh no, not even the Flash can help. But we do find out later that it was one of the Kryptonians that took his legs out. But when I read it this time, I was like, wait, who was that? Because he wasn't wearing anything specific to like, oh, that's that person.
Yeah, I mean, you only really saw like the fists and head flying. So
yeah, so
everything else was like fast lines showing that he was flying fast.
Right. Yeah. And so that's the end of that issue. Then we get Batgirl one shot, and this was like this. So this is the plan, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the plan was, we're gonna send Batgirl. She's gonna run over to the pier, And he's like, and she's like, what do I do at the pier? He's like, you'll know what to do. I'm like, you can't tell her that. And he's like, she'll be fine. Like, she's like me. She'll be fine. And so, yeah, she like runs to the pier while all of Gotham's trying to kill her.
Yeah. And she's got a pink and green batsuit.
The suit is fuchsia, and the gloves are like green.
And her cowl.
Yeah. So it's like it's a weird mix of.
It is. It's weird. I get the like you said, the Joker colors.
Yeah,
it was very like, haha.
Yeah, but she's like, cool. It's my first time going out in this costume. You know what? This might have been part of the plan, which was she's going to be visible, so everybody needs to track her down, and he needs to distract everybody to go towards her. Maybe that's part of the plan. I don't know. Anyway, she runs to the pier, and he gives her like this little pill. It looks like a pill, but it's like a beacon thing, maybe.
Yeah.
And so once she reaches the pier, everybody's about to kill her, and then all of a sudden, Aquaman comes out of the water and he's like, "I'm here. You called or whatever, you know." Like, did you call Aquaman services? Because
I assume, yeah, maybe it was like a
maybe
beacon
he can hear
for him
in the water. Well, but it's not, because we know what that was later on. They explain what that is, and it's not part of that. But maybe he can hear it too.
Yeah.
I like how you did the 70s Aquaman. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm talking to a fish. Whoa, 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 whoa. So, you know, he saves her basically, and that's that one shot.
That's the one that I didn't like the art in as much. Like, it was kind of jarring in that one.
Well, okay, so that's Frank Miller drawing. I think, okay, I've kind of figured out what the new style of Frank Miller is, and that style is, if you're drawing a Batman or a main character, I'm going to put effort into it somewhat. And if I'm drawing a human that's not part of the main story or is like a horrible person, they're going to be squiggles on a page. Some of the people that were chasing him were just kind of like, I have a blob for a leg and a you know, a half arm or whatever. Like, it was weird. She didn't look that bad. I mean, there was some weird poses or whatever, but it's like he always does that.
She was fine.
She was fine. I mean, if the rest of the issue was that, it would have been fine. But I think because there's so many people, regular people in this one, it was really like, what is that? A blob? No, there's a face in there somewhere. Like, so yeah. And then, you know, I was like, John's gonna love this issue because Aquaman shows up. So Aquaman comes out and saves her, and that's pretty much it. So then book 5 starts, and we see like Aquaman is taking Carrie. She's in like a mer suit or whatever, a Atlantean suit, so she can breathe underwater. And he's taking her under the ocean because he has found where Superman sunk to. And there's not really like I guess we're supposed to assume that Bruce is sending messages to these people. Like, this is what's going on. Aquaman, Flash, other people, you know, Green Lantern, like, this is why they're showing up or doing things.
Yeah, they definitely didn't outwardly tell you, but I guess we're
just supposed to assume Batman has plans. That's how it is.
I did like Aquaman was writing his steed of choice in this one was a giant hammerhead shark. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, the art in the main book is fantastic from Andy Kubert. There was no like what or anything with that. We cut to after they find Superman underwater. We cut to Quar, and like he's talking to Laura, and he's like, "I think you and your dad are the only Kryptonians besides us." And she goes like, "And Jonathan, my little baby brother, Jonathan." And he's like, "What?
Who?
Jonathan? I did not know about this Jonathan." So like now Quar knows that like there's a baby and it exists and it's in Themyscira, and he kind of just saves that nugget for later. You know, we cut back then to Carrie, and she's like, she's got that pill that Batman gave her, or the whatever the fuck it is. It's some frequency transponder, and apparently it's like they say it's like a tuning fork that's resonates on a certain frequency, and if she shoves it into this black matter or antimatter, it like can get through vibrating, I guess, and then it also Superman will hear it, so he'll know like if he wants to come back.
He can vibrate at the same frequency, basically.
Yeah, and also he can hear it, and you know all that stuff, so you can see where they're at. And so she does that. He breaks out, and he's like, What year is it? How long have I been out or whatever?" And they're like, "It's been 2 days." He's like, "I thought it was like years." You know.
I guess the time difference when he was there was crazy because he said he had time to like search his soul and like he knows what he has to do now.
Yeah, so he's like completely revitalized now. Like he's got a mission, and that mission is he's got a daughter and he's got a son. They've corrupted his daughter, so that's like the real mission. Is like I gotta like set my family right, but then also gotta save the Earth again. Save people. And then Batman once again, he's got his plan. This is all part of his plan. The plan is he saved Barry already. Barry got his legs broken in the Flash. He's already saved Barry. He's back at.
He's like in the Batcave or something.
Yeah, he's at the Batcave, and he's like he's hanging from the ceiling, and he's doing all this fast stuff with his computers because his legs can't work. So he's hanging upside down. And he's got like Google Glass on basically, and he's got all these computers, and he's typing extremely fast. And we see he's like manipulating. Like when Carrie comes back, she's like, "Oh, hey, Flash, you're here," and he's like, "Yeah, you're Batman set me up with this, and I'm like doing all this shit, so I need you to be quiet."
Yeah, I'm manipulating weather patterns.
Yeah, somehow he's manipulating the weather patterns with computers.
I assume it's with all the Batman's stealth satellites.
Sure.
Right?
So Batman goes kind of like he did in Dark Knight, where he like rides up in the tank and he's like, "Fight me" or whatever, and like, he's got his suit on and like, "Oh, you showed up." Quar's like, you're here to die in front of all these people, and then he's like, Batman's like, "I think you're the one who's gonna die," and then like it starts to, or like basically you see like lightning start to happen. You're like, oh, like I guess Barry wants, or he just wants it to be lightning. So maybe can they get hurt by lightning? I don't know, And then all of a sudden it starts to rain, and you find out Batman put like seeded clouds with synthetic kryptonite. So
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's like, I got a lot of money. his whole explanation for all of this is, I got a lot of money. Like I'm the Jeff Bezos of this, and even more so because I have satellites that are stealth, always flying around, that are able to see clouds that have synthetic kryptonite, just in case Superman. He was only planning for Superman, but maybe Batman plans for everything. So maybe he thought one day the Kryptonians are going to come out and maybe they're bad. So all of a sudden, all his followers and Quar are like, you think you can? And it starts raining, and they're like, what? And then like they all fall out of the sky, and they're just like fall on the ground, and they're like, what the hell's going on? And then Batman goes up to Quar, and he's like, pretty bad. He like punches him in the face, and he's got his like big fat Batman suit on, like when he fought Superman.
Yeah, his little armor suit.
Yeah, and then Quar's like, I might be like not powered or whatever, or like weakened, but I'm still gonna kick your ass, old man. And he like punches Batman, and then like as Batman's falling backwards, he's like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. You see like a hand touches back, and Superman goes, I got you, pal. And Superman's in another set of super armor. And I thought this design was a little awkward, but it's basically like Superman has no neck. Like he's got a metal suit on, but I get it because he's got to protect against the rain, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's got a whole face helmet too.
But it looks like Superman's face in metal.
Right. It was just kind of ridiculous, but he's got no neck either, which I think that's the problem. Is there's no neck on this big armor suit.
And that's kind of the end. Is the two of them now standing in the kryptonite rain. It was cool. Yeah. It was a little goofy, but it was fun.
But I enjoyed. I was on board with this. So
I didn't expect it. So
I didn't mind any of this. I was like, I'll buy his satellites. I mean, we're laughing at it now because it is ridiculous, but I buy stealth satellites. I'll buy the synthetic kryptonite. I'll buy Superman in a suit. It's fine. Like I was on board with everything going on, so it was fun. Then we get the one shot of this one, which is by Frank Miller
Book
again,
of Laura.
which is Laura. This is where you get to see how like juvenile Laura still is. It was basically like her and Ball. You're like wondering where's Laura and Ball this whole time, and they've just been out. They're flirty teenagers.
They're like gallivanting around, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, hey, do you like me? Check yes or no. But to each other's face. So. Yeah, basically they're acting all teenagery, and like Ball's like, you ever kissed anyone? Or?
Yeah, this was kind of weird because they're like, aren't you scared you're not like gonna be able to fight? She's like, I can fight, and then she kind of fights him, and then they're like, oh, let's make out a little bit. Yeah. Oh, but now they're gonna fight some more.
Yeah, well, they're like warring peoples, I guess, right? So
I guess
it's hot, I guess. So,
oh man, I love when you punch me. Come here, I'm gonna kiss you now.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's like why they were distracted or just away from the storms, because they were like making out with each other or whatever. So then we get book 6. And book 6 is fantastic. I liked this one a lot, actually. Like, this one just sets up, like, 5 set up all the action that's going to happen in 6. So 6 was like this is like, Batman's plan is happening. And we see, like, the police and the citizens, the Kandorians fall down. And then, humans as they are, like, fuck you. They threw a rock at one of the Kandorians. And it cuts them. And they're like, she bled. If it bleeds, we can kill it. And then they all like start attacking all the fallen Kryptonians, and like pretty much looks like Quar is gonna be defeated. Like he's on the ground. He's like, we will rise again, and you fucking suck or whatever. He's all mad, and then like Ball and Laura come, and I should say it has stopped raining now. It only lasted for like I don't know, a minute or something. The rain.
Just enough to like get them covered in it.
Yeah, just enough so that they're covered in the rain and the synthetic kryptonite. And the synthetic isn't as strong as regular kryptonite. They're vulnerable but not fully underpowered. And but they can't use like heat vision and shit from what I get.
Yeah, and they're not flying.
But for sure, Ball and Laura were not in that rain, so they're not covered in anything.
Yeah, they show up and then Ball's like, "Screw this," and they just start straight murdering people.
Yeah, they're like. And like the Bat Boys, like Carrie and the Bat Boys come in and they're like, get them Bat Boys, and then they like they just totally fucking destroy the Bat Boys like with one look and kill. Not I should say it's Ball, not Laura. Laura never really like killed anyone or did anything. That was the only thing I was kind of like, I wish they did, because it would have made it more like dramatic. Because she's like on their side for sure.
Yeah,
it seems like she's always on the fence in this. They didn't want to make her kill people, because then how can you redeem her later on if she's killed people? So you could definitely have her like, she obviously beat up Superman, but that's beating up Superman. He's not gonna like die. So Ball kills all of them. Then Carrie takes on Ball. He goes to like kill her. He's like, you think you can take me on? I'm fucking Ball. Like, I'm fucking awesome, And like, I just picture him like a total fucking idiot. Like the way that he,
It's a big meathead.
Yeah, just a big meathead. Like, what are you talking about? You think you can take on Paul? I'm pretty awesome, bro. All right. And like, she, I like this a lot. Carrie is like, cool. You think you're cool? Well, check this out. And she like pulls a piece of kryptonite out of her belt.
And it's like this. It's like a little tiny.
It's like the size of a 1/4 inch round.
It's a little pea, basically.
Yeah, a pea. And but she got her slingshot still, which I enjoyed, because that's like a callback to Dark Knight Strikes Again, or Dark Knight Returns. And she like shoots it into his eye, just like totally fucking perfect shot, right in his eye, and he's like, ah! Like, because apparently he doesn't know. They don't know what kryptonite is.
Yeah,
because they've never haven't been on Earth long enough.
That was cool. I guess it gets like stuck because it like mutilates.
Yeah, it just gets stuck in his face, and it just like completely. It's like Clayface almost, or like makes his face like droop. Incredibly ugly, like, and he's like, don't look at me, babe, like, don't look at my face, Laura. Oh, I'm so ugly, or whatever. So,
and that's defeated for him, basically. He's like, I'm flying off.
Yeah, so he's all sad and everything, and then like Quar actually, like, once it stops raining, they like they start flying off. Batman's like, let them go lick their wounds, like they know they've been beat.
Quar looks back and is like, well, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's got his eye laser beams back and shoots the laser beams right at Bruce Wayne, right through Bruce Wayne, right
through Batman. So Batman is like, ugh, I did not think about that. Son of a bitch. I think that wasn't part of his plan. Superman knows, oh shit, like he just got shot like somewhere vital. They don't say it's in his heart or anything, but you see like the little beep, beep, like that little line, the heartbeat line. And then Ball comes to Quar, and he's like, look at what they did to my face. And his like face is all fucked up. And they're like, he took my son? I'm going to take his son. That son of a bitch Superman has another son. And so they're like, we're going to get Jonathan. And that's where you see Kara go, or you see Laura go, like, what do you mean you're going to take Jonathan? And you know he's guarded by like all the Amazons. And like, why do we give a fuck about Amazons? We're Kryptonians. You're a Kryptonian, right, Laura? She's like, yeah, totally. And so basically his plan is we're gonna go get the son of Superman to get revenge for my son,
who was disfigured.
Yeah, I guess this one ends with actually just the Batman getting killed, or the Batman getting lasered. Yeah. So then we get the world's finest one shot. Batgirl's confronted by Laura in this one, and Laura's just kind of like playing with her. Like she acts like
because she could kill her.
She's like, I can kill you anytime I want. I'm gonna like get in your way and blah blah blah. And they're just kind of talking. But then it's like obviously eventually Laura's gonna kill her, kind of like a cat playing with a mouse. When she's about to kind of do that, Wonder Woman comes in and is like, Laura, no.
What are you doing, daughter?
Yeah, how dare you do that? And then Laura's like, come on, Mom, you know you can't beat me. And she's like, we're going to fucking fight right now. And I'm going to show you what an Amazon can do. They fight and basically shows her what's what as far as Amazons go.
It was kind of cool. She like basically puts her in her place, but then lets her go. And she's like, well, I'm not going to kill you. Our bond is too strong.
Right. You're my daughter.
You're my daughter. And Laura's like, fuck you, Mom. And she flies off.
I hate you. So yeah, that's actually before, I guess we're supposed to assume while Carrie is fighting, Ball shoots him in the face. Then after that, this happened. Then Laura and Ball both go back with Quar. So then book 7 starts. Like we said, we get Ball says, we're gonna get Jonathan from the Amazons. Then we have Superman. He's got Batman's body and he is flying somewhere.
Yeah,
we don't know where. We're like, where the fuck? It's somewhere. It looks like it's Egypt or something. There's dirt and dust. And you kind of see because they show some guy walking in the desert and it's Green Lantern. He's got no hand. He's got like all the desert garb on to like protect him from the sun. And so I assume they flew over him or something, which is why they cut around to him.
Yeah.
But he's like looking for his fucking hand still. He's just been in the desert looking for his hand. Or Batman and Superman are flying somewhere, and where they fly in like the Middle East or Egypt or somewhere is the Lazarus pits.
I didn't know what this was at first. I assumed it was some kind of regeneration thing, but I didn't make that connection because I've only really heard Lazarus pits. I've never really seen it.
Oh, you didn't make that connection?
No, not at all.
What? You've never seen the Batman animated series stuff?
I have, but I just didn't make that connection. It's been so long, so I was like, I assumed it was like some kind of regeneration thing because he's like, I'm gonna put him in here. It's like, what is this? And then they said, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I just forgot that it was a thing.
Okay, because right away I was like, oh, like I get it, I understand, because like anytime you in any Batman comic, if you see a green, it's in Egypt first off, then you see like a green pool of whatever, and someone's dead or dying or whatever. That's the Lazarus pit. So right away I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that. I forgot he's going in the Lazarus pit. So for all you who don't know, the Lazarus pit is what it says, like a Lazarus, someone who's dying gets brought back to life. They get brought back young too. And it's generally, it was in the Batman animated series, it was all around Ra's al Ghul and, or Ra's al Ghul, whatever the fuck you want to call him. And he would always like every certain amount of time would go take a bath, and then he would go. It's supposed to also make you crazy, at least in the Batman animated series. It didn't really do that to Bruce in this, but yeah, like it just makes you young again and heals you of whatever ailments and stuff.
That was cool having Bruce come out and he's
got black hair and everything.
Yeah,
he's all buff again. Yeah, it was nice. It was cool to see that, and I like that they're using like different things, like different ideas to like bring someone back to life.
Well, especially as many times as Batman like dies in this series of comics.
His heart has been
my heart again.
Yeah. So he does that. He brings him back. Then it cuts to Laura, and she's like going to Themyscira. She's in Themyscira, and she like is like, hey Jonathan. And like Jonathan's in his bassinet or whatever, and he's like, a little baby. And then like you see Wonder Woman like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Outside the gates of Themyscira, or like where the Amazons live in Themyscira, there's like a bunch of Kryptonians like waiting, and then you see the Amazon like basically this is Wonder Woman talking to Laura, and she's like, what do you think's going to happen here? She's like, well, we're going to take everything. It's like, we're going to fight you. And we're like, we are ready too. Like, you think you caught us unawares, but you did not, because we're warriors. So we're always ready. All right. Be prepared. So that's kind of where it leaves this issue, is like the Amazons are ready to fight. They're all geared up for battle. And then same with the Kryptonians. They're waiting out of the gates. Then we get Strange Adventures One Shot. And that one is Green Lantern basically getting his ring back.
Yeah. The Hawk people show up for a couple seconds.
Which is weird, because they're not in it at all.
Yeah.
Except this part. And I guess it's because it's like in Egypt or whatever. Like, that's where I guess they're from, like that kind of mythology. And so they just hang around that part of the world. And I guess they knew that it was Green Lantern. And they're like, should we get involved? They're like, no, let's let him do his thing. And then he finds out that his hand is in like some weird marketplace dealer's, box of mysteries or whatever.
But a yellow box.
A yellow box, because he knew what it was. That's why he couldn't like feel it or whatever, call it to him, because it was in a yellow box. For all of those of you who don't know, Green Lantern's weakness in the old comics was yellow. So that's why he couldn't get it. So he just is like, yoink, and he like grabs it with his good hand and runs away. And then they're chasing him, and that's when like the Hawk people help him out. Then like the box flies out of his hand, and then it falls open, and then he's like able to use the power again. And now instead of like attaching or something weird like that,
I assumed it was gonna like attach, and you would just see like a green like halo around.
Right?
It
No, it's just a
him.
floating hand around Hal now. So then we get issue 8. Batman is back. Batman is back, and he's young now.
Well, I would say besides this, but everybody else does think he's dead, because that's the last.
Yes, everybody saw Superman.
So
or
Perry
Batman
thinks he's dead. Yindel thinks he's dead. Like, they have his helmet, and they're kind of like, oh man, like he's really dead now. Like, we saw him die.
Yeah, like dead. And Superman's like, no, we're good. Like, I'll bring you back. So then, but we cut back. This one is all about the Amazons fighting, and this is kind of where you see him bring in a little bit of Superman lore. So the Amazons are they're strong and all that stuff, but apparently in the Frank Miller Dark Knight universe, they're also like, their powers are derived from magic. For those of you who don't know, the only weakness Superman has is magic, which is why like Shazam and him can fight each other, and they're pretty much even. The Kryptonians are like, oh, yeah, we're not going to have a problem with this at all. And then they like fly above the Amazons inside their city, and they're like, we'll just burn them to death. And then they like shoot their laser beams at them, and the Amazons just turn their shields up, and it just gets hot a little bit.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. They're basically like, oh fuck, like what? Why didn't that work? And then it was like, they're just like, attack Amazons, and then like they just fucking go all out war, and they're covered in so much fucking blood and gore in this. I was like, this is a badass.
It was cool. Like there's Amazons that ride in on like Pegasus.
Yeah, Pegasi. I don't know what the word is.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
But they have spears.
Lots of Pegasus horses.
They're flying in, and then the Kryptonians are like, what the fuck's going on? And then like they just start murdering all of them. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I love there's scenes where there's like just body parts falling from the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, and none of them are Amazons. Like, there's a couple shots where you see like the Amazons getting shot in the face, like with laser beams or whatever. But for the most part,
it's Kryptonians.
It's all Kryptonians getting murdered by Amazons, which I thought was fun. And then Laura's like, "Holy shit," and she's still talking to Wonder Woman, and I guess she just like, "My bad," like gives Jonathan back to Wonder Woman at the end of all that, and then Wonder Woman like, "Cool, thanks," and then like straps the baby to her back, and then goes out
of the fight
and fights with the baby on her back. So fantastic. So yeah, that whole issue is pretty much that giant battle.
Yeah, from the last little bit is that I guess they realize like the Kryptonians are like, and so like the rest of them kind of fly away, and they're gonna like amass one master plan, because they're like, oh, a bunch of them are nuclear bombs because they took those little pills, so they're obviously gonna do something crazy now, because they know that they have the people beat up on them, the normal ant people, and now these Amazons beat up on them. So like they are not as great, all powerful as they thought they were.
Right.
They are not the gods they intended.
And it kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, like Superman has been on Earth for a long time, getting that sun, getting them rays. He's got more. I would think you'd have more, power or whatever. And also, they're like, he's been, he's fought on Earth and fought people and, fought with people and all that stuff. So he's got like more, just like in general, they don't have any experience fighting or, you know what I mean? Like they're not like tacticians or something.
Yeah.
They're just religious zealots that think they have power, And then we get the Detective Comics one shot. And this one I thought was like, man, like that's how you're going to do it. But this one is where Commissioner Yindel dies. And it's basically a story where like Yindel's walking around. She gets jumped by some Joker boys and who are led by Bruno now. So we get
Bruno's back.
We get John's favorite character, Bruno.
Wow. Swastika boobs and all.
Yeah, swastika boobs and butt and all. So Bruno and her are kind of talking, and she's got a gun on, Bruno has a gun on Yindel and everything, and then she like shoots at Bruno, gets Bruno, and then Bruno gets her. Bruno fell on top of her, and then that's it. That's all we get about. Now, that doesn't mean Yindel's dead necessarily.
No, she could have had a.
But they didn't mention her again. So we're supposed to, at least until they do another one, assume Yindel died. Then we get book 9, final book here. The Kandorians, or the Kryptonians, however you want to call them, they've come up with their plan, and they're about to like eradicate all humans by like taking, they got all those nuke pills, right? So then we see Laura, after not taking Jonathan, is confronted by the wives of Quar, and they're like, bitch, why didn't you take...
Why didn't you do what he said?
Yeah, why didn't you do what Quar said? It's Quar, And Laura's like, what do you mean? Like, you guys got beat. And they're like, how dare you? You're a heretic, just like your dad. And then like all of a sudden Green Lantern comes out of nowhere and is like,
hey ladies, remember me?
Remember me? And then like his hands like floating around. I just picture it floating like all around him and stuff. Like it wasn't actually doing that in the panels, but I thought it would be fun if it was like that. And they're like, what the hell? I thought you were dead. And then he just like takes him on. They don't show what they do to him though. I kind of wish it showed what he did to him, but he's just like, check this shit out. And then it like cuts away. I'm like, God damn it. So yeah, like basically he saves Laura from Quar's wives. Carrie eventually comes back to the Batcave and sees, Batman's alive and he's young.
He's young, yeah.
And so they come up with a plan again to like defeat the last of the Kryptonians. And so I should also say the Kryptonians were like, once they got back to the rock or the area that they were at assembled, and they're like, a lot of them who were just Quar's followers, not his family, were like, man, fuck you. This has not gone well for us. We all died from the Amazons, and we all died from, Gotham people killing us and all this stuff. So we're going to go do our own thing. And they're like, cool, see ya. And then as they fly away, Quar and all his family take them out. They like burn them all. I guess maybe they have higher power levels, or I don't know. But they are able to
kill them.
And so maybe because their like guards were down or something, they're just flying away, not thinking Quar was going to kill them. So they take them all out. So the only Kryptonians left are like Quar's family, which is maybe like 10, 15 people. They arrive and they're like, we're going to, kill everybody now. Fuck all of you humans. And they have the pills, but they haven't done anything yet. Superman comes in now because it's just Quar's family, and he's like, what's up, guys?
Well, Batman's like jumps out like he's gonna take him on, and then Superman's like, "I just brought you back to life. Yeah. It's not gonna be to just die again."
Yeah.
So go ahead and go ahead and step back, and I'll take care of this.
And then we find out, and I wonder if this is for all of the books, but apparently Superman has been holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot bit, because he just fucking takes out basically all of Quar's people.
Yeah, he starts beating the crap out of them.
Yeah.
They may be stronger, they may be faster. Batman says like, oh, but they'll never be smarter than him. And he's like tactically taking them all out one by one and beating the crap out of them.
Yeah. But as they're like, they fall, they're like start to glow.
They're like, we can't take this anymore.
And then I loved this part. This is like one of my favorite like endings to a thing.
I agree.
So as they're about to blow up, and everybody's like, oh shit, and like Superman is like in front of like Batman and Carrie and everybody to like protect them. The Atom comes out of nowhere and is like, hey guys, and like he sees what's going on and he's like, and you're all shrunk. So as the guys are about to blow up, they all shrink down to like tiny, and you just see like
marbles or something.
Yeah, you just see like tiny
pop, pop.
Yeah, you see tiny little explosions. So yeah, like I really liked that when they like popped. They shrunk them down.
They made me think like little fireworks, like little like poppers or something.
Oh yeah, like or like the ones that you throw at your feet. So yeah, and then Quar is like, what are you doing, kind of thing, and then he's like, well, guess what? I'm still here and I'm gonna blow you up. Laura's like, no, you're not. She like takes Quar and just brings him like just right away into the sun. She just flies him straight into the sun. That's pretty much the end. Like Quar dies. His family died. Everything's fine now. I guess it cuts back after all this, and they're at Carrie and Bruce are in the Batcave, and Carrie's like, I got a new costume.
I liked it. It was like a black suit with like a gray bat symbol
instead of it was the opposite of Batman's. So it was nice. It was cool. She's like, I like the darker way, and she's also it's Batwoman, not Batgirl. That's pretty much how the whole 9 issues ends. And then there's the last little one shot, which is the Action Comics one shot, and this is kind of like a nice wrap up for everybody. And the main thing was just this ends with Clark kind of being like, see, Laura, this is why we have to be like, nice to humans or whatever.
Put on these glasses and be like,
yeah, she's like fit in, and then she looks exactly the same but with glasses. Yeah. But what was the one? What happens with Batman and Batwoman in that one? Is it just them fighting crime?
Basically, I there's one little line. Batman's like, oh man, I did good, and now I can learn so much from her.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, nice little note.
Oh yeah, that's true. And like basically, you just see like Carrie Kelly she's like totally full on like the mantle basically, but now Batman's young again, so they can kind of fight together as equals instead of mentor and partner or whatever, or sidekick. And then you see Wonder Woman, and she's got a bigger Jonathan now. He's like kind of more grown up. But yeah, basically it's just Jonathan's around now. He's floating. He's flying around, little baby flying. That's pretty much it. So, John, what would you give this one?
Overall, I liked it better than The Dark Knight Strikes Back. Again, the first one is pretty much like the gold standard,
right?
But it was good. I really liked the story in this one, and maybe a couple of the one shots like were a little jarring, but it didn't take me out of the story at all. And I like some of the twists in this one, and some of the there was a lot of unexpected. I love the kryptonite rain.
And the Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
Like all those little things where you're like, I remember when I first read it, I thought the Black Matter prison was cool, and then the fact that like they find him at the bottom of the ocean was cool.
Yeah, I like there were little when Aquaman brought him up, there were a bunch of like little squids holding it up for him.
Yeah,
just like really showing Aquaman's powers.
Sure, John loves Aquaman, folks. For some reason,
I like things about Aquaman. Anyway. Overall, I would probably give I would give it an 8.
An 8? Okay, cool. Yeah, I would give this one an 8 too. Like in context with the whole series that we've read like in 4 weeks or whatever, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like fits fully. Everything's cool. I mean, some of the things that people might consider cheesy, like or like convenient or whatever, like the storyline, like the kryptonite rain or the Lazarus pit, things like that. I actually fully enjoyed it, or like the magic, Amazons, because as the reader, you didn't know what they were gonna do, So like, those were clever solutions to the problems that he set up,
For sure. I don't, for Batman, for the most part, his way of solving things is almost always like, that's what I expect from him. It is convenient, and that's just because Batman is that smart and he's like figuring it out ahead of time.
Exactly.
So that's 100% in character.
Right. Well, but the Lazarus pit, that's Superman going, there's only one thing I know that brings people back to life, I guess. So,
and that was cool because I wouldn't have expected Superman to do that. I would be like, oh, Batman's dead now. That sucks.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I didn't put together that it was the Lazarus pit right away until they said it. I was like, oh, that's right. I totally recall that now, but I didn't remember. I didn't remember right away that that's what this stuff was that brought him back to life. I was like, oh, this is weird and interesting. And then I was like, oh, the Lazarus pit. Yeah, I kind of have an idea. That's right. I remember that a little bit.
Yeah. So we both give it an 8. so far the series has been great.
Yeah.
The next one is just like a one shot again, like Last Crusade, so it's going to be like a shorter episode again. But this one was long enough for all of it. So unless you got anything else, I think we're done.
That's good for this time.
All right, cool. I guess we'll see you next time, everybody. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that episode.
If you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, and our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.